You thought the hardest part was over, but it wasn't. This final stage feels heavier than the beginning. It's not just about waiting, it's about being stripped of everything that still blocks love. It's quiet, it's intense, and yet you feel something aligning beneath the silence. Your soul knows it. The union is near, but only if you're truly ready. Are you? Drop a comment below with "I'm ready for true union" if your heart feels this message. Your energy might be the confirmation someone else needs. Why the last stage doesn't feel like the end. No one prepares you for this part. You imagine that the final stage of the twin flame journey will feel like a celebration, a reunion, a moment of peace, a confirmation that all the pain was worth it. But what you actually find is silence, a different kind of silence. It's not the silence of separation. It's the silence before alignment. It's a sacred, pressing stillness that feels almost unbearable. And this time, it's not because the other is far from you. It's because you're so close, so deeply energetically entangled, that any piece of you still rooted in illusion starts to collapse under the weight of what's coming. This stage is brutal, not because you're being punished, but because you're being purified. Everything that was once a survival mechanism now becomes a barrier. Control becomes noise. Attachment becomes distortion. Desperation becomes resistance. You can't force what's sacred. You can only become the version of yourself that's truly able to receive it. So the universe begins to test you in ways that don't even look like tests. It feels like delay. It feels like rejection. It feels like life going quiet all around you, just when you thought it was time to speak. Have you felt like the energy between you is stronger than ever, but the physical gap won't close? Do you sense that your soul is closer to union than ever before, and yet you're being asked to wait even longer? That contradiction is not a mistake. It's divine timing pressing you into deeper trust. This is the phase where your ego will scream the loudest, and your soul will whisper the truth beneath it. And that truth is simple. This is not the end of the journey. This is the final transformation. You're not being left behind. You're being prepared for something your mind can't fully grasp. You're not supposed to understand everything right now. You're supposed to hold the frequency, not of control, not of doubt, but of truth. The truth that what's meant for you cannot be missed. The truth that union doesn't arrive when it's convenient. It arrives when both souls are finally vibrating at the same frequency, with no more distortion in between. You may wake up feeling the other person's presence like never before. You may feel their dreams, their pain, their regrets, and wonder why they're not standing at your door already. But union, real union, is not a reaction. It's a collapse, a surrender of timelines, of past wounds, of fears, of karma. And that takes time, divine time. Can you hold your heart open, even while nothing around you makes sense? Can you stay grounded in love, even when everything screams abandonment? This is the final purification, the sacred test before embodiment. If you're here, you're not lost. You're being reshaped. There is a moment in every twin flame journey when the soul begins to tremble, not from fear, but from recognition. You start to feel the weight of something greater approaching. And yet, that weight doesn't come with clarity. It comes with pressure, intense, relentless, invisible pressure. Like something inside you is being compressed by unseen hands, demanding a new version of you to emerge. Not later, now. This pressure doesn't show up as chaos. It shows up as stillness, as if the universe has gone quiet on purpose, forcing you to finally hear the noise within. The noise of expectation, the hum of your doubts, the tremble of your impatience. And beneath all of that, the voice of your soul, trying to speak in a language you haven't fully learned to trust yet. Have you been feeling exhausted? Not because you've been doing too much, but because something deep inside you is moving without words. Do you sense that everything around you is being rearranged, but no one is telling you why? That's the pressure. It's spiritual, it's cellular, it's sacred. In this stage, your connection becomes more vivid in the energetic realm than ever before. You may feel surges of love at random moments. You may dream of your counterpart multiple nights in a row. You might wake up with a heart that's both aching and overflowing at once. It doesn't make sense logically, and it's not supposed to, because logic is the first thing that breaks under divine pressure. The masculine and feminine energies within you and between you begin to shift in powerful, often uncomfortable ways. The masculine is being dismantled internally. His identity, his emotional walls, his illusions of control, all of it begins to crack, sometimes without him even realizing. And the feminine, though more aware, begins to feel an overwhelming call to hold the energetic space, to become the still anchor in the storm. This is why you may feel things you can't explain, why you may cry without a reason, or feel a sudden wave of grief in the middle of your joy, because you're no longer just processing your own story, you're clearing the residue of both. This is the sacred tension, the paradox of being spiritually closer than ever, yet still physically apart. And the more your frequency aligns with union, the more intense the pressure becomes. Not because you're failing, but because you're getting closer. The universe is refining you. Every thought that still operates from fear, every wound that still asks for validation, every part of you that wants to rush or prove or fix, it will all be exposed now. Why? Because union doesn't come to those who want it the most. It comes to those who have become the version of themselves who can hold it. And this pressure, however uncomfortable, is not punishment. It's a promise. The kind of promise that breaks you open in the best way. The kind of promise that strips away everything false, so only the truth remains. So if you feel like your heart is about to burst, if your emotions feel too big for your body, if everything around you feels like it's preparing for something, but you don't know what, breathe. Don't run from this pressure. Sit with it. Listen to it, because it's not trying to crush you. It's trying to birth you into the exact energy that will finally allow the union to arrive. What the masculine and feminine each face now. At this final stage, the twin flame connection stops feeling like a mystery and starts feeling like a mirror, raw, sacred, and sometimes painfully clear. There is no more hiding behind timelines, no more blaming divine timing, no more spiritual bypassing. What is left is the truth of who you are right now, and the reflection of who they are becoming. And as beautiful as that sounds, the reality of it can feel overwhelming, because both the masculine and feminine are now being asked to face what they've avoided, not in each other, but in themselves. For the masculine, this phase is dismantling, not subtle, not slow, radical. The universe is stripping away his false identity, his idea of what love should be, what power means, what stability requires. All of it begins to collapse. He may feel like he's failing at life, or that nothing makes sense anymore. Jobs don't fit. Relationships don't feel real. Passions don't ignite. It's not because he's lost. It's because his soul is no longer willing to live a lie. He may not have words for what's happening. He might pull away. He might even act colder or more confused than ever. But under that confusion, there's an awakening, a slow burn kind of awakening that is terrifying to the part of him still clinging to safety. The masculine energy is being cracked open, not by the feminine's pressure, not by external forces, but by the inner voice he spent lifetimes silencing. This is why the feminine often feels everything during this time, because she's holding the emotional channel open. She feels his pain, his longing, his resistance, and at the same time, she's facing her own final test: to stop rescuing, to stop waiting, to stop needing proof. Can she trust the connection even when it looks dead? Can she hold the frequency of union even when he looks like he's running again? Can she stand in love without demanding clarity? The feminine energy at this stage is refinement. She's being guided into deeper embodiment, into softness without collapse, into strength without control, into surrender without self-abandonment. She's not here to fix the masculine. She's here to remember that union doesn't happen because he shows up. It happens because she does, fully, radiantly, authentically. And that's the paradox, because even as she lets go, the energy between them intensifies. The telepathy deepens. The dreams become prophetic. The signs become relentless. Have you been seeing their name more often now, even though you're trying to detach? Have you been waking up with a sense that they're about to reach out, and then silence follows again? That's not failure. That's frequency aligning. It's the vibration clearing old karmic debris. It's the universe saying, stay in trust, stay in presence. What's real is being built beneath the surface. Both souls are now confronting their core wound. For the masculine, it's often the fear of not being enough, of being emotionally inadequate, of failing the person he loves most. For the feminine, it's often the wound of abandonment, the ache of giving everything and receiving delay in return. But these wounds are not obstacles to union. They are the gateways. This part of the journey asks both energies to rise, not toward each other, but into themselves. He must learn to feel without shame. She must learn to stay grounded in love without needing a guarantee. And when both do their part, even without words, the connection begins to shift. Union is no longer just an idea. It becomes an atmosphere, a presence, a pulse. And here's the truth most don't want to say out loud. Sometimes, just before union, it will feel like everything is falling apart again. That's not regression. That's alignment. The ego dies hard. The old identity will beg for survival. But your soul came here to rise. And love, real love, will not fit into old containers. So if you feel like you're standing at the edge, like one small step could change everything, but the ground still isn't moving, know this: the masculine and feminine are not behind. they are becoming, and becoming is not loud. It's sacred. It's unseen, until the moment it becomes undeniable. There is a point in the twin flame journey when illusions no longer just fade, they shatter. And it's not a gentle process. It doesn't happen in a single moment of clarity, but in layers, pulled back one by one until the soul is left exposed, trembling and undeniable. This stage is often mistaken for regression, for loss, for disconnection, but it's actually the most intimate movement toward union that exists. Because what's collapsing now isn't love, it's everything that ever tried to imitate it. The illusions between you and your counterpart are ancient, rooted in past lifetimes, ancestral pain, cultural programming, and spiritual avoidance. They include false timelines, distorted soul contracts, and attachments masked as destiny. And for union to be real, not temporary, not forced, but eternal, all of that has to go. Not because it was wrong, but because it no longer fits the frequency you've grown into. This collapse may look like chaos. Communication might disappear. Emotions may rise without explanation. Sudden memories could resurface, as if your soul is doing a final purge of everything that no longer resonates. You might feel like you're falling into a void, but it's not emptiness. It's space. The space where truth can finally enter. Have you noticed patterns repeating, even the ones you thought you healed? Have you questioned the entire journey all over again, just when you felt closest to the union? That confusion is not failure, it's initiation. The final illusion to fall is often the illusion that you're done. This stage asks both the masculine and feminine to release their last masks. For the masculine, it may be the identity of being not ready, the belief that he must fix himself before returning. For the feminine, it may be the story of waiting, the unconscious habit of holding space for someone else while neglecting her own evolution. The collapse begins when both start choosing presence over protection, truth over timing, self over story, and from that collapse, alignment starts to emerge. Slowly, subtly, but deeply. You may not even notice it at first. The silence will feel different, lighter. The emotional waves will become softer, even if the longing remains. You'll begin to feel your own energy more than theirs, not because they're gone, but because you've finally reclaimed your center. That's the signal. That's when the energetic shift begins. Because true union isn't created through action. It's revealed through alignment. When both souls, consciously or not, begin vibrating at the same frequency of truth, the path becomes magnetic. Synchronicities increase. The physical world begins to rearrange. People and circumstances shift in or out of your life without effort. And the bond between you, once strained by timelines and trauma, begins to breathe without pressure, without need, only presence. And yet, this is the moment where many give up, because alignment feels like emptiness before it feels like home. When there's nothing left to control and nothing more to prove, will you stay with the process? Will you trust that love doesn't need to be chased, only received? Because the truth is, you never lost each other. You were only walking through the layers that needed to dissolve before love could remain unshaken, before you could finally see each other, not through wounds, not through fear, but through the eyes of the soul. So if it feels like everything you once believed is breaking apart, let it. If it feels like the connection is gone, listen deeper. The illusions are falling, the soul is rising, and union isn't just on the horizon. It's already humming beneath your skin. Union is a frequency before it's a reality. There's a moment when the twin flame journey stops being about when and becomes all about how. Not how it will happen, but how you are being in this very breath. Because by the time you've reached this final stage, timelines begin to blur, external signs feel quieter, and all that remains is your frequency. And frequency never lies. You've gone through the fire, you've faced the silence, you've released, waited, cried, aligned, surrendered, and tried again. You've imagined a future together, and you've mourned it in advance. And now, what's left to do is become. Union is not a reward. It is not the finish line. It's not something you arrive at because you were good enough or healed enough. Union is what happens when both souls stop chasing each other's shadows and start standing fully in their light. It's what begins to crystallize when love no longer needs to be proven, only embodied. You are not here to wait. You are here to remember, to anchor the energy of truth, even if your counterpart is still running from theirs. Because union doesn't begin when two people hold hands. It begins when both hearts stop fighting the love that was always there. The masculine, in his silence, is being reconfigured. Every avoidance is being met with truth. Every delay is holding space for deeper integration. He is not unaware. He is awakening in ways he doesn't yet know how to express. And the feminine, she is learning to lead with frequency, not fear. To trust that being in her truth is the highest form of invitation. Not waiting, not chasing, not proving, just being. And that being is magnetic. That being is the key to everything. Have you noticed how your energy shifts the moment you let go of needing a sign? Have you felt how the connection settles when you stop asking when and simply breathe now? That is union. That is the arrival before the arrival. It's the sacred space between longing and fulfillment, where the soul prepares to meet itself through another. Because when union finally manifests in the physical, it won't feel like a shock. It will feel like recognition, like something ancient finally returning home. No fireworks, no drama, just the quiet knowing. Of course, you're here. But here's the secret no one tells you. That energy, that recognition is already available. It's not waiting for a text. It's not waiting for closure. It's waiting for you to tune into it, to hold it, to become the embodiment of it. So don't rush. Don't measure the distance. Don't beg the universe for confirmation. Instead, ask yourself, can I feel the union even before I see it? Because the moment you do, something irreversible begins. A shift in the field, a ripple in time, a heartbeat in sync. And that's when union stops being a concept and becomes inevitable.